co-founder of Manaki, and you're joining a kōrero around all things meta, Web3, uh, and really the future, and maybe what it is right now in the present. And it's my pleasure to welcome David Yu from, I was going to say from many things. Kia ora, David.
Kia ora,
How are
Andy.
you?
Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, so good.
I must have known you also about, 17, 18 years from
Yeah,
Iceland.
that long.
Yeah.
Which is a bit crazy because you're a young fella.
Still young, so in my heart anyway.
Do you use moisturizer to stay so young?
No, I'm just happy every day, waking up, doing things that I love. And if you know, been following, I do own a chain of retail game stores. And every day, you have kids coming in who loves, what we sell. And you bring smile to people's face. And I think that's the youthness, when you just enjoy your, day-to-day work. And, myself and my co-founder, Dan, we believe the same thing, is that if you really enjoy what you do every day, it's not really going to the office. So, yeah, I mean,
it's quite extraordinary for people like you who, to me, are, and it's a bit like Luke I interviewed from Indigenous Collective. You have a lightness to you and a brightness, which is quite extraordinary. Because if I look, and we're going to unpack that today, when I thought about introducing you, obviously VV, Games R Us, Retail Management Group, Hobbyco, Livewire Games, Vagabond Games, EcoMe Orbis, Bingy Fintechs, Shanghai Quanren, Allegro Publishing, Golden Seal Trading, Touchable Earth, and the Australasian Olympic Cultural Promotion Society. How do you fit all that in?
Yeah, I mean, we're here to discover my day, I guess. I guess in the young early age, I never really thought there was one thing in my heart that I was settled on. Any entrepreneur, you want to explore. And I think the curiosity really is a main driver for me, that I'm always curious to explore, to understand, what's out there, what are the opportunity. And a lot of my business, I'm always being in the forefront. The retail management, for example, was, we were one of the first 10 or 15 companies set up a proper WOFE license in China doing exports.
Can you explain what a WOFE means? Like, I understand.
Yeah. So a WOFE is basically having a wholly owned foreign entity license.
Yeah.
Into the Greater China market, and that was very hard and very difficult because it was basically the stage one of all the New Zealand exporters sending things up to the Asian market. Getting all your licenses from the government, the bureaucrat system, was challenging. And I think every little bit throughout my career and my business have built where we are today in this Phoebe, this EcoMe Phoebe business. It's, I have taken everyone that I know throughout my whole entire, from retail, from licensing, the experience that I have built up, and really this is it.
But you didn't know, like 20 years ago when you started these businesses, you didn't know that you were going to do VV, did you?
I didn't even know I would survive through the first 5 years. I mean, the rule of thumb in business is if you can survive through the first 5 years as a startup or anything, you can get through anything. And I mean, Vagabond was my first retail business in the gaming, and I think I started about 1,600 New Zealand dollars in my pocket, and that has built to where it is today. So I'm having a great bull run, and I'm aiming for moon, probably Mars as well. So we still got a long way to go. So, keeping a huge faith,
Do you want to go like physically to Mars?
I do physically want to go to space for sure. I'm not sure about Mars. That could be a
Hey,
little.
so before we get to like how you got to this point, do you want to tell us kind of a little bit about VV for those that don't know it or haven't downloaded it or traded on it? What it is, when did it start, and where it is now?
Yeah, sure. So Phoebe is a mobile platform. You can download it in iOS or Google Play Store. And we are basically an end-to-end digital commerce platform where users can easily obtain and purchase NFT, or what we also call it digital collectible, for those who doesn't know what NFT is. And it allows you to really have that immersive experience inside our mobile phone application. We have the showroom ability for you to open up your innovation, how you want to display things. And more importantly is that you have the ability to trade and sell. And also we have the utility function in the augmented reality where you can be posting an image of yourself standing next to your favorite superhero, your comic heroes that you once know of. So
like Spider-Man.
Yeah, like Spider-Man or Captain America, or like I say, Batman. That's why we build this platform. It's good fun. And
James Bond.
James Bond, and we got a lot more James Bonds collectible coming out, and some really amazing partnership coming out in the James Bond franchise. We're very honored and humbled to be working with the talents from the MGM at the Eon production. Yeah.
Hey, so when did it start? 2017, BV?
Yeah, 2017, around early 2017 was all the preparation, all the brainstorming, and the business really started around mid to the second quarter of 2017.
Okay.
And like anything else, you set up to write a white paper in those days, or business plan as we call it, and you start launchpad to go out seek for investors. I definitely believe that we were, thinking back now, we definitely were much too early, to get people understand. And I met with some of your colleagues, and back in those days, digital assets, and but people were all talking about protocol, blockchains, bitcoins. So NFT was definitely not in the radar. We definitely were much ahead than anyone else.
Did you know back then? You obviously were attracted to blockchain.
Yeah.
Did you know about the NFT potential when you put this together, or were you just going, I want to go into this space?
Yeah, me and Dan, we never thought it would be as big as today. I mean, just to give you a scope of thing, we were hoping, by end of this year, and we're coming up to end of December this year, we're hoping to have about 65,000 users.
Okay. How many have you got?
Everything we minted or produced is really catered for that 65,000 audience. And we have over about 2 million downloads. And active user every month is about sitting at 1.1, 1.2 million. And that number's just rising every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Does that give you shits and giggles when you look, you and your partner, your co-founder, go?
Well, I mean, definitely we're not doing this for a bit of laugh and giggles anymore. I mean, it comes with great responsibility now. Before the app went live, and seriously, we were in the living room before we pressed the button, go, okay, we're going to go live. And we just told each other that, it would be great just to sell some Batman, some collectible that we love. And if I knew where we would be today, I would have bought more of my own collectibles. Seriously, cross my heart. We were so busy, tried to promote, tried to go out there. We forgot. I mean, I should have bought more. But we wanted everyone out there to have something, so they could enjoy what we bringing to
When you
them.
say buy more collections.
Yeah, I would have. I didn't manage to get every single one I wanted, to be very honest. Even though we were watching it as we put the products live, and a lot of our audience, and we have this celebration day, which is what we call the drop day, where we release a content or a collectible on a specific day in the morning and the time, and we call it a celebration because everyone come together on their phone and they try to press the buy now button. Now,
it's crazy, right?
I do have to say, maybe the last 40-50 drop, everything's been selling out under 1 second. We are going to try to change how we can slow that down to maybe 2 seconds.
It's hard though, right? Because what I've observed from some other mints, and Jerome, a friend of mine, said we should have a bot that just gets in there and grabs, right? Because it's so hard if you want to get this just intense demand.
Yeah. So we have a zero tolerance on bots. We've been very active in listening to our community and blocking bot users or restricting their account from now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, we really just want to have an even playing field for all the collectors and our.
What's the GMV? Can you release what the GMV is, like the trading volume? Like how?
I mean, I can give you a broad part what we are looking, in the next 12 months, and I think most of our trading value, a lot of our data, a lot of our audience or fans are able to take it out themselves. And the context moving forward, we're hoping to be in the billions of dollars a year.
US or New Zealand?
US. That will be US.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And, a key part of the success of Phoebe, other than, by the way, the user experience, which to me is a beautiful, I'm used now in the crypto world and that web to like clunky as crap stuff, and you just got to work your way around. But Vivi is so intuitive, so beautiful. It actually feels like a consumer app in the like it's amazing. So well done to that. But how have you built these big brands? The Disneys, the Spiders, the James Bond, the Marvel, like they don't just like rock and roll with someone from New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the first 2 years is basically traveling up to the North America or throughout Asia. I mean, I was almost living abroad. Every 10-15 days I will be in a new city, in a new office presenting. And I remember moving into discussing with all these studios, and they didn't just take one meeting or one call and they go, oh, wow, that's a great idea. Most of these studios understand the IPs that they own, and collectively they own hundreds of years worth of content collectively. The creation out there is enormous, and how and who they choose to partner with to release these are very, very instrumental for their future success.
So why did they choose you guys? Other than the fact that you turned up.
Other than we turn up. We really resonate in their culture and ethos. I have to admit, I'm a huge collector, and I believe their brand. I sell their brand since '97. I sell it in my shop. I understand. I see the evolution of these collectible market, and I have seen the transformations from the physical, how it become the digital, and how these new layers of collectability. And I understand how collectors think. And we didn't kind of want to disrupt any industry as such. We just want to add a new class, a new medium into collectibles, where
part of that is, and I'm sorry for interrupting, part of that is that you weren't necessarily a stranger, or you weren't some new guy going, hey, let's do this, because you've actually had 20 years of gaming and licensing and partnering. So you actually, you kind of knew what was the right thing to do and how to approach, but you weren't just coming at it fresh.
Yeah, and you know, and that was one of the beauty. And Dan is instrumental in a way where he is the other side of crazy nerd. He understands all the tech aspect, the UI, the UX, where I'm very experienced in running, you know, startup business of my own. Understand, you know, how to negotiate with the licensors and try to find that balance is quite important, because as you know, every single project right now is trying to get into this NFT space. And a lot of these projects are great project, and you know, there would never be what we call winner takes all industry in anything. But a lot of the technology company out there, they might be speaking too techy to the
Yeah.
likes of the license. And I think that's one of the beauty about us at both myself and my co-founder, we balance so well, where we, you know, our weakness and our strength really balance each other's differences.
You know, Dan,
Yes.
when did you meet Dan?
Dan actually built my first Vagabond website in
Did
'97,
he?
and that's how I got to know him. And in fact, you know, I didn't have a lot of money when I started. I mentioned, you know, Vagabond was started with less than $1,600. When he built the website, I had to do a contra. I did remember I said to him, you know, I can pay you X amount in money, and the other side, you probably have to take stock. So he always thought I had a better end of the bargain today. We're talking about it and having a good laugh. But, you know, that from that friendship, we developed and we kept in touch all this time. So this is going back, you know, 20 odd years.
So when did you become partners around Vivi?
We in 2017, he came
Wow.
to Asia, where we had office up in Taipei. He came over for a bit of holiday. I showed him around. He really enjoyed, and we both had the idea of blockchain. I mean, he was thinking and reading a lot about you know, cryptocurrencies, as we know of, and back then, you know, there was a lot of negative sentiment around it. And we were thinking, you know, what other real case use could we bring and can we adopt and take in?
Do you think that your journey into this world is linear or non-linear?
I think there's a little bit of both, to be very honest with you. Yeah. I wouldn't weight it in one specific area, one side heavier than the other.
If I think about in business, what's in your heart, what's your passion? You know, you've shared with me the joy that you get from your retail presence when you go into your stores. Can you just share that? Because it's pretty instructive for me around you and what your passion is.
Yeah. So back in '97, when I first started the business, and my idea in the very, very early stage, if you come to any of my store, in the back of my shop, I have gaming tables. I have trestle tables set up. And every weekend we run events. If it's a card game tournament, a board game, a role playing, I think my shop will probably be open more hours than anyone else does in the retail space, simply because after hours we run
That's when the game begins.
So number one is, I always knew if you kind of have a business that can bring community together, there's gonna be some sort of money to be made there. And the type of community I'm talking about is very micro, very specifically targeted. So if you come to my store and you into Magic the Gathering, you are into Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you come to the back of it, you sit there, you open up a couple packs, there will be other kids with similar interests as you. No matter if it's if it's sunning outside, raining, storming, windy, 30 minutes, 40 minutes after you spend the time in the back of the store with other kids, you meet new friends. Why? Because you speak the same language. you almost have the second secret with everyone that you communicate well. And that community is what drives every business I do, everything.
Does that
So
resonate across like New Zealand, Taipei, Singapore, Japan,
yeah,
China? Same?
yeah, but obviously the geographic is very different and the taste is very different. But certainly, there's these elements are very much the same, and you see the similar patterns, and they like the same thing. And you often will see the Western world will be early adopters, and then the rest of the world will come later
The
on.
Western world will be the early adopters.
Yeah, definitely. Much. And even though we see technology in the Asian countries is now developing much faster. Obviously, likes with China, when you jump from like 3G directly to 5G, I think they possibly skip 4G. I don't know. But the internet just seems to be, everywhere. And online shopping was adopt. Yeah, I think when they come in force, they adopt that product very fast once they know it's real. And
Where do you think we are in this evolution of the Web3 meta world?
yeah, I mean, myself and Dan, we thought about this many times. As we develop this digital asset, as NFT, that where are we going to be going from here?
Yeah.
Obviously, with our business, is really the NFT. I always mention to people, it's really just a byproduct of possibly something greater that will happen later on down. And I really do believe that there will be more utility value on these NFTs. And
what does that mean? Just lay that out for us.
Well,
does that mean there's going to be more depth to the IP?
Definitely. I mean, a lot. There's a lot of fad about newspaper right. Well, NFT is really just a JPEG. It's just really a movie file. But I really think the media perceive is this is not a real technology. It's something that JPEG has been around since '92. When Windows 3.1 was out there, I think we may be on 2G or 3G back then. But where we are today is we need to embrace a technology, the underlining on that blockchain, is taking that asset you could not own, or you don't have a proof of ownership or provenance or authenticity. Now that you are opening up a whole raft of new innovators, artists out there. And when I talk about art, I don't just talk about massive artists that is already well known needs to be on. I mean, we are talking about minority artists, people who never have an opportunity to express themselves or monetize it because they can't be represented by all these major gallery. Now they have all these opportunities, and that's only one small segment. And
does that mean, for example, if there is one of those artists here in Aotearoa, can they come to and list at VV?
Yeah, I mean, we are our web platform when we launch on by end of this year, we will start to open our artist alley section. We have invited a dozen or more artists to be on the platform to do a bit of testing, but we do see that will be opening up in the
now. Interesting question. In any game, as you know, there are always forces at play. There's the good, there's the evil, there's the curious, and there's the confused.
Yeah.
When you think of this NFT meta world, you're not the sort of person I think who openly talks about the evil, but are there, because there's this big centralized versus decentralized, people have commentaries about what Facebook and Meta are doing. Like, are all those participants at play right now? The good, the evil, the snake oil merchants.
So this is going back to I mentioned. I don't think there will be one world or one metaverse that will rule them all, and I think it will be.
That's good.
That's good. I do believe it will be driven by a lot with community and people, what micro and what people love and what content they want to be associated with. And there's nothing wrong with full decentralized. I mean, I do quite often jump into, chat room and understand what people are talking about and what's being shared and what their thoughts and the idea. And I guess the decentralized version is really more of the freestyle version. You can talk about, and
That's a really interesting thing, right? Because I'm a pattern matcher, right? So, since I've got into this world, I've jumped on sites, I've downloaded apps, I've participated in Twitter, I've gone to Discord servers, and I'm trying to work out some patterns of not just all the projects, but which are the projects that are succeeding more than others. And do you know what it's like? It's like crazy Silicon Valley VC, because it's like this: you got to make a call, and it's not like let's sit back and meet the founder and give them some feedback and come back 6 weeks later. It's like it's hard, right, to pick. Do you pick?
Yeah, I follow a lot of project, and obviously I follow a lot of project from our fans. A lot of our fans in Phoebe, they never know they become artists themselves, and they really enjoy.
That's cool.
Designing and coming up with new projects. So there's a project that I had to bought 5 fishies the other day, and
Fishies.
yeah, it's amazing project. And then I believe the tanks comes out tomorrow, so I can put my fishes in there in the tank, and they start to grow in the ecosystem. There are
Cool.
a lot of fun things out there, and once you get the community, I really do believe that we will see, and we are seeing that movement in every part of what's happening around us.
So maybe let's just think about, so if I'm going to say you're in a privileged position, and you are, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because you're also a very humble person. If you think about the other entrepreneurs and founders who are thinking about this space, going how to participate, do you see some sectors or stages or types where people should be looking, or do you think people should just be their natural self and the opportunities will come?
Yeah, I mean, number one, you need to believe in this space, and number two is whatever you do have to be relevant. I mean, there's no point to jump on the bandwagon because the NFT is the buzzword. I mean, it's not relevant in many other industries, but there's much better use than outside art as the NFT. You never know. Car ownership, house ownership could be on an NFT type of document, smart contract.
Yep.
There will be, where we really believe in is that the avatar, these figures that you own, digital figure, maybe it's a representative of you in a digital world, and that's your ID, and that's how you're going to get around and navigating through that world. So there will be many different type of level of usage and fan engagement. I really do believe that more and more company will be getting into this space. We have a lot of new partners we haven't announced that you would never thought they will want to be getting into this NFT or metaverse or this digital space.
All big companies?
They all multinational. I mean, some of these companies have hundreds of years, in the industries already, industry leaders in consumable goods, multinationals.
But so here's a challenge for you, right? So one of the things I've observed from this community is and communities is that actually it appears to me to be full of quite a lot of diversity.
Correct.
Right. And full diversity. And and the people who are from those diverse backgrounds are seeing an opportunity to do things for their family, their whānau, their community, themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I sort of breathe deeply because I start to think about all these big companies coming in, and I'm going, what about the diversity opportunity for these people? Not just Māori, Pacifica, Asian, wahine, youth, which is where our future always can be. Are they going to get squashed?
Well, no. I think this opens up a lot of new gateway opportunity. I was in a clubhouse the other night, listening to people from all all parts
Yep.
of the world coming to one community, talking about that micro subject, why they're so passionate about it. So this movement is all around the world. We are talking from Middle East to Southeast Asia, North America to New Zealand, Australia. It's a whole ruff of people. It's in a way, I won't use the words crazy. I think it's a new way. It's the openness.
So,
social.
Is there a math formula for hacking this Web3 world? People talk about you got to have 10,000 hours to be an expert in something. Do you think that's relevant? Like, is there a math formula, and do you need deep domain expertise to succeed?
No, I think the entry barrier into this is not as big as people think. If you're willing to learn, if you're willing to understand, and I think number one is you need to believe in it. I mean, if people don't believe in the digital asset, people, possibly my parent, now they're a little bit more believe into it. But prior to it, when I was trying to sell them the idea, they didn't get it. But now they got it because things have changed and it's happened now.
So they're not saying you're crazy anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one stage they did tell me to go seek medical advice. I promise you. They thought, they've been to my store. They've seen the cards I sell, trading card. They thought, well, you're going to another level that we don't understand anymore. So the entry barrier is quite simple if you're willing to learn. And what Phoebe does is we just bring it easier for the mass market to absorb. And we had to do that 4 years ago when we built this business, when we set to build it, because back then there was not many marketplaces, there's not many wallet. And in fact, there's not many NFT projects. So we kind of have to provide this whole end-to-end solution for what product we want to do.
In the VC space, they talk about a 2 to 3% of all deals get funded, and then 1 in 10 of those kill it, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about those stats in the NFT world? Different?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the digital asset space is we have winters. People often use the word crypto winter, and unfortunately, when we got into the business, it was a good time, and when we started to raise funding, it was going down. In fact, I did believe that Bitcoin went as low as about $3,200-$3,300. I mean,
what is now like what, 56 US?
Yeah, 56,000. I mean, we hit high as 66 the other week.
Have you got Bitcoin?
Yeah, very, very small amount for me. Everything that we have pour our hearts into this business to keep us alive. Now it was definitely a challenge, and I think I came to some of your colleagues for funding.
I was WeChatting him this morning. I was like, "Do you remember?"
We had about maybe if not hundreds of doors closed, and then a lot of them were very polite because they didn't actually understand the industry that we were trying to solve. And as you know, VCs are very into your SWOTs. How
did you handle that no and those no's?
I tell you, every single day, I remember when I was about 12 or 13. And I went to Murray Bay Intermediate in Rangi when we used to do these fundraising for years. And you used to sell. I always very, very much an entrepreneur, by the way, and I'm hoping this doesn't go back to the school. The box of chocolate fish sells for $2.50, and I remember I used to sell them for $3, and I pocket 50 cents because I thought I should be paid for the times that I'm actually working outside school hours. But I tell you what, there was one lady in one neighborhood I went. She opened the door, and every time the door opened, I'm always very polite. Even when I was a kid, I will go, "Hi, from which intermediate would you like to purchase a pack of chocolate fish? I'm doing the fundraising." And she say, "No, thank you." And I say, "Ma'am, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon." And she go, "Why are you so happy? Most kids would just walk away, turn their back, right?" And I say to her, one thing I want you to know is that the whole entire street have actually say no to me. So the chance of the next door says yes just got greater. So every time a VC closes the door on me, I always think about that day, that night, the opportunity of a yes on the next one has to be soon. Every single, it can't be 100 no's. You're going to get one yeses in life. And
does it hurt though, or not? Or you just go, no, I just need to try forward?
It was very hard to swallow. And myself and Dan, we just keep on going. I think,
Did he pitch as well, or just you do the pitching?
We both pitch. And I tell you, we will have number of pitches a day, and there will be a pitch traveling between from one pitch to the other on the Uber. We will be updating the PowerPoint to go, oh, that's a good idea. We should take that out, take this in. So we do take criticisms very well, and we adapt and we adjust how we should be pitching on the next.
After you did ultimately raise that segment, have you raised more money for Phoebe?
No, I think we will be doing something in coming months. We just
out of the US right or Asia or
we've been approached by quite a few VCs. We also have stopped taking phone calls because we actually just have to focus on our business. Nice. I will have to say to you that I won't say the word waste. I invested 40 to 50 hours every single week back in 2017 to 2019-20, every week on trying to find a perfect, business deck or a pitch. That's how much time we spend on it. So
have you got it perfect now? Well, it doesn't matter because you've got metrics.
No, we still have a big dream. We got a lot happening in the organization, and the scalability, how we want to grow dynamically, and there are a lot of market we want to go into that we know in yet.
Is there a future for retail?
Yeah, I do believe that if you look at Amazon, and I do watch a lot of video what Amazon does, or even Jeff Bezos and other entrepreneurs out there, because I get inspired on how they think, the vision. And when Amazon start acquiring retail business, Walgreens, you really think they really turn that business and they understand how you can connect the two segments together and connect that and make that work like an ecosystem. I do believe a lot of the retail business will go into digital goods as an offering, whether through their e-commerce website or a redemption to drive users into the retail store to bring footfall.
Does that mean for you're going to do more in digital, or you might actually see you going back into retail as well?
We will definitely see a lot of opportunity where there will be a day-to-day release with a physical and the digital coming together as a bundle of a product to go out. And we are working with companies, brands, license to see how that experiment will work. Because, at the end of the day, the retail sector, it is a very important sector in our day-to-day living.
Beyond Amazon, brands that inspire you on a daily basis.
Brands and company that inspire me are the one that's really pushing the boundaries. So Tesla, Elon, some of his vision going to space. Because these people don't have to do it. They don't actually have to be a market leader in doing any of these but they choose to. They choose to lead because they are curious what's out there in the other side. And I think that is what one of the things keep myself and Daniel improve ourselves and drive this business. Even though every single door was closed on us and everyone say, no, we don't think this is going to go well, we really believe in it in our heart. And seeing it work now, it's quite fulfilling. I do have to admit.
It's remarkable. What would surprise people to know about your history and your patterns?
Well, I have a very long history of sticking to a project and never give up. I mean, the business that got me kicked off today is still fully owned by myself and is still running. So I'm a very long-term tunnel thinker and how to expand. That's number one. I'm someone who really empowers people to take responsibility, to take risk. A lot of the things that we do in our organization, it's all empowerment. We don't, and a lot of the employees that works in our company, we never met physically. And 5 to 10 years ago, when you go, well, I'm hiring someone, but I never met them. We only done an interview through the phone.
You go crazy.
People go, well, how's that possible? You need that human touch. So we do a lot of these empowerment, and we do believe if you hire the right people who has the same ethos and passion with what you're doing, you're going to have a successful outcome and product. So, and other thing, what really drive me is I'm a huge collector. I love the industry that I'm surrounded myself in.
Physical and digital.
Yeah. And so you should know, I already collect digital artwork prior to blockchain even invented.
Yeah.
I collect prints, and a lot of the artists in the early 2000s start moving into digital art, and they come in the memory stick. I was already a big believer back then that digital is an artwork. It's a medium. It's another layer of how artists express themselves.
So maybe then what surprised you about the blockchain, crypto, meta, NFT journey to date?
What surprised me? The uptake has been extraordinary. I do have to admit. Last year, we were in New York on an NFT conference, and I believe that conference we sponsored the VIP dinner because there was only a few. There was not many people, and I think that event attracted about 600. And I believe that the same event organizer just ran the New York one a few weeks ago. It's got 8,000 plus people.
Yeah,
the whole
crazy.
Times Square had billboards up. It's lighting up. You could not know what's happening. That movement in this 12 months has been the uptake has been just extraordinary.
Sleeping giants in the meta world beyond meta, like who?
I think there will be a lot of, I think most people are already in the meta first.
Studios,
brands already kind of already moving into that. I do believe all the big company will come out. I do believe that Amazon will have their own meta first. I do believe Tencent will have their own one, same as Meta with Facebook. I think most of these corporations will have different type of layer. And gaming company already been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, they have.
Actually nothing new. But what's all about is I really do believe that it's about the community. You do need to have a very strong community want to participate in that. Otherwise, you're just building a metaverse.
There's a clear answer that you have to build depth, right?
Correct.
And engagement and the like. Now, some loved projects that you have right now, which are probably on VV, that you wanted to share with the community here. Are there any particular channels or pieces of digital art that you just freaking love?
Man, I love the stuff that we bring out in VV. And it's not really a bias thing. I'm very lucky to be in a position where every single collectible that comes out on our platform are chosen and curated in a way by me and the artists. I get to speak to them. I mean, we don't just take submission and we go, well, that's a good idea. You're slotting next Wednesday for a drop. We curate them to understand the artists. Most of these artists, I do already collect their physical print. So it's not people that I just get randomly in the email. So not being biased, I do love most of the collectible that we do. And something that we do and we hold very strong belief in is that two things. It's not just about the big brands, Andy. It's not just about the big studios. If you come into VV, you're going to see brands, artists, talents representing themselves inside the app on the works that they have done prior they become famous, or work that they have done as independent without the license brand mark on it.
Do you see the opportunity in the future to unbox hidden artists that don't have that track record, and bring that into the VB community?
Yes. We're talking to a handful of them now.
Nice.
I can't announce here because I can start seeing these, I see messages, by the way, to our fans out there. I can't mention anything here.
They want to know, everyone wants to know secrets. They all want to get a scoop. Let's just, now, you shared before when you were a 13-year-old at school, right?
Yeah.
And you said that you're a proud founder and entrepreneur. Where do you think that came from? Like, is that your parents?
No, I tell you, it came from the desire that I want to collect. I want to make enough money to fund my own collections. So I started in a very early age as a stamp collector. And by the way, we recently announced the US Postal Service, the partnership with rolling out some of these digital artwork for stamps has been amazing, and it's been
going to be amazing.
So,
and that, by the way, is a great way to bring both new people into what is a really old thing, but also to bring old stamp collectors into this world.
Yes, and you nailed it there, Andy. So I started with stamp, and I started in early age. And you used to buy stamp packs in 2 kg bags, for $15, $20, and you had to throw them in the bath, soak them. The stamp will basically come off the paper. You dry them up, and once again, not financial advice. That what I have done is I went through and I picked through all the stamp that hasn't got the stamp mark on it, and then I'll put glue stick overlay in the back. So I'll try to pretend as a mint stamp, right? And I'll go up and down my street and sell them to next door neighbors at a discount face value. So I think back then you used to send a letter for 40 cents. So I think I was selling for like 30 cents. And on a 2 kg bag, not financial advice, so don't go out and buy them all. I think like a $20 bag, you get about $120 worth of non-use stamp. And that really funneled my hobby. And then all the other stamps, I used to make them into little packs, and I used to sell them in Queen Street here, and they're on consignment with souvenir stores. So every Friday night, I would do my stamp run. So how it works is I go from the bottom end of Queen Street to the top end, and there's about 15 retail store that will consign my stamp pack in the tourist stores. So I will swap them around with my backpack, and the shopkeeper there will tally up with me. And that really how I got started into the entrepreneurship. And on that Friday night run, my brother and friend, best friend, they will go to the comic store called Mark One Comics, and they will spend all their money on trading cards, basketball cards, and one way or another, I got into collecting those as well. But it was when the comics business had a tough time in the late 90s, they started to fall under. And whatever money I had, I purchased some stock of a company called Unicorn Distributor, who used to be one of the parent company for Mark One Comics. So I picked up all their role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragon book, Warhammer, and I will, and that's how I started my little shop in Takapuna Village in '97.
It's pretty remarkable, because I think you have a bias for action. You have a bias for observation, and then you collect it, because lots of people have ideas in the shower, going for a walk, going for a run, and they don't take the action. But you take the action. What are your daily habits?
If I get some sleep, normally my day goes about 24 hours. By the way, it's pretty full on for the last 4 years. Obviously, the last year or so has been a little bit better, because now we're launching. We are quite stable in one country. But prior to that, we were traveling in different time zones, right? The minute you land, you have a meeting to go to. Basically, you get changed, you shower, you're on the go. Now, my day-to-day, I get up pretty early. I try to be up as early as possible. Number one is because
5 o'clock.
Well, I get up about 3 before. Now I get up at 4 because I need to participate on our drops. I'm trying to buy the NFT that we're dropping. So I get up, and generally I miss the drop. Then I have a bit of cry. I go make myself a cup of coffee, and basically emails. There's a lot of email, and try to think. I spend a lot of time talking to Dan before I go to bed. If we do go to bed, and sometimes I ring him about midnight, even 1 a.m, just to
and
go.
He goes, "I'm not answering that."
Well,
or he does.
He actually answers 97% of the time, probably even more. Believe it or not, we work quite well. And I think he goes, well, if Dave didn't call, that means he'll be calling soon. So we normally go through what we've done for the day and what's coming up for the next day, just to ensure everything's aligned. Early mornings, all my early mornings are blocked out for studios, with likes Marvel's, Disney, MGM, Universal, Warner Brothers, DC, Sony. I can't name other one that we're working with.
You could let a secret out. No, you probably can't.
And generally they go for an hour, half an hour to an hour each, and then I have our legal meetings, our accounts, go through everything, ensure everything's aligned. Dan will communicate with me to ensure that this week's drops, what's going to happen, the numbers, the additions, ensuring that the teams, the design, and also forecast for next quarter, and also reports generating, and just going back and forward. It is very, very time consuming. And
7 days. You don't take time off on the week. 7 days.
There's actually no day off. None.
How do you maintain accountability when the speed is so fast, and you can't bring a control thesis, I assume, to all your team members?
Yeah. We are getting a lot better. Number one, the business for a growth like this, if you can think about it, it's basically like a rocket going up to the moon. It's not going to stop. The fuel is basically pumping out, gallons of gas, and it's just going to one way, one projectile.
Wow.
We basically, I think all the people who's not hanging on the side properly, they basically get left behind. We work very close, and the team members speak very openly and transparent. We don't have
Do you
hierarchy.
use like WeChat for that conversation, or Slack,
Yeah,
or
we use a lot. And in fact, the team uses a lot more. I'm on a lot of WhatsApp for fast communication, for calls.
yeah?
I'm on email quite a bit. But we have Discord, Telegram, what have you not, to get our message across. It is moving really fast these days. Things are, and it's not
Speed.
going down. Yeah,
Mm.
it is really about the speed. And we are very fortunate that we are still a quite agile company, Andy. We able to move and rejigger things as we need to make things work.
Which means you don't. So you don't mind resetting.
No, not at all. And one of the biggest success I will have to say is that we listen to our audience, we listen to our community,
Yeah.
we take it in, because we're thinking, well, if I was complaining to a company, I really wish my voice get heard. We do take that in quite personally in a way, and then we go and re on the drawing board and redo it.
I think that, by the way, what you say there, the thing that I love about the digital, the meta world, that I think the large organizations just don't get, right, is
Yes.
this immediacy and connectivity to your community via the Discords, via Twitter, via WeChat, whatever it is. It's an you don't sit there as a CEO anymore and say, can you tell me what is the sentiment? You've got to
Yeah.
be in the community.
Yeah. So, Andy, you nailed it. So the other day I was talking to someone about CFO. Do we bring in a CFO? And generally, and as you know, in any organization, CFO's job is basically very strategy, very big thinking about, the big, the macro side of thing. And generally, the CFO's job will eventually take over the CEO's job. And then you think about it, and we're going, well, the CFO position that's coming into our organization needs to be someone who's as passionate as we are,
Totally.
and understand what it is, rather than going, well, the money we spend on that, on return on investment, that just doesn't stack up. For us, it's not about making profit in everything we do. It's about what the mandate is, and why we're doing it, and why we're minting this NFT, and what this adds value to our community. Our community want to see value out of things that they are participating in, not we taking out from them. So, and I can imagine having a CFO on board that would be telling me, well, that's a bad choice. That doesn't return that 30%. That doesn't stick to that number. And it just won't work. I mean, we'd be arguing.
The interesting thing is, I wonder whether in going forward in these communities, we will find the employees and team members from our own community.
Yeah.
Like I've got this friend that I'm working with who trains young females in their running programs, as well as matching to their hormone development, right? And the thing I've said to her is, you are going to find your dev in the running community, in your community, because they already preach what you're about. And I reckon you're going to find the CFO in the VP community. Don't you think?
100%. And I'm pretty sure after this video, I'll be getting some messages. So
CFOs. Hey, now I'm going to ask you a question, which I ask every guest as we get to the end, to take yourself to the 13-year-old student from Rangi, because you went to Rangi.
Yes, I did. Same as Dan. We both went to Rangi. We're about
same year.
Yeah, a year different.
So, what advice would you give to your 13-year-old self now as we look ahead into this world?
Yeah, I mean, to be curious about things, to open up your mind, and embrace what's happening around us. And I to be honest, the most important is the action. Don't be lazy. Just go and do it. Try it out. The problem with today's society, we're starting to get a little bit of disconnection that the young teens are almost thinking things should be done for them because, and I tell you, we live in an age where it's not going to get any more better. I mean, I do. It's what a time to be alive. Number one is any meal I want tonight, I could actually order an Uber, like any type of summer food. I'm gonna have lights by switching on. Back in the day, you have to do candles. If I want to get from A to B, there's planes, there's trains, there's cars. I can communicate with you through Zoom, through this video, and that message will be broadcast. We're not going to get into, things are already done for us so easily. Back in the day, you want to pass on a message, you have to be on a horse, passing it on through transporters.
But you can't replace what you're saying as hard work, right?
Yeah. And it's what I'm saying is about the action. You do have to. The only thing I do different every day is that on my list of hundreds of things I have to do, I tick them off.
So you got a list?
I do have a list.
Physical list?
I do have
on a computer. You write it down.
I do write it down, and then I put it on my calendar. I do have a physical list, and that physical list is written every night at midnight. What I have to do the next 2-3 days. And
what do you do to relax?
I'm a huge collector. I read comics. I collect artworks. Seriously, I have piles and piles of books on the side. I read a lot, and I try to understand the product that we are selling, what is going to be relevant for our audience. I want to continue to push the limit in the app. And
will you always work this hard?
Yeah. But I do have to admit, this has been the hardest of the
20 years.
Yeah, and I have to say, I do work very hard. This is extraordinary hard work.
Do you accept too that you may never reach the summit, the ultimate summit?
Yeah.
Are you at peace with that?
Yeah, it's very hard because we dream so big. Seriously, we have huge dreams, and even thinking back to 2017, where we are today, you get quite emotional because it's in a way it's a dream come true, and we just want to thank our community and our supporters out there. Yeah,
it's quite extraordinary. I said right at the beginning when we chatted that you create room and lightness for people, and there is something again extraordinary about your humbleness, but also what I observe is that it's a bit like iterative entrepreneurship. Like this thing is evolving and evolved to a point ahead of your expectations, which creates an obligation to fulfill its potential, which is quite extraordinary, right?
Well, it's a commitment. So for any teens out there, your action will lead to that commitment, and if you commit to it, you give your hearts to it, and we do, and I do. Our team does. So we'll continue to build it out, to roll it out, and this is just really at the start of it, by the way.
Yeah. So 2022, Vivi, what are we going to see at your dream for next year, which I'm sure will be exceeded? What are we going to? What's the community going to see?
Well, number one is we talked about the web base. And the web base is a big part in our development coming. And number two is we have spent a great deal of time this year trying to scale. because, as I mentioned to you, the app was designed for 65,000 people.
Yeah, and you got 1 million actives.
Yeah. So we did spend a lot of time, and we got a lot of program that we're running for our collectors out there. You know, in the gaming world, it's called organized play. So in our digital world, it's called Master Collectors Program. For us, is to bring more utility value to our audience and how we integrate that into whether it's metaverse or gaming platforms and so on, or vice versa. The gaming aspect is going to be a big part. And also, the collectible that you've seen in our season 1, what we brought out in January this year, and what we have today, when you put the two together, you can clearly tell the technology that we have gone. We got other sectors that we want to enter into. So I think right now we have covered, the comic book, the collectibles. We are moving into new categories. And next year will be a quite big one. And next year is only, 40, 50 days away. So
it is. Have you got a Christmas tree?
No. I think we're still, we're on 13. This is our 14 weeks in lockdown, or 13th week. So
will you get a Christmas tree? No.
Yeah, I'll get a digital one.
Oh, that's a good answer. Hey, David, can I just say thank you very much for taking the time. I've enjoyed it. I've learned quite a bit, and I just love your style and your leadership. And again, I'll say it again, your lightness in creating room for other people. And it's extraordinary journey you've been on, but it's also a journey that you've been on through mahi, through hard work, through commitment. And that's something for all of us to aspire to. So thank you very, very much for taking the time, and to all of the community that's come on and watched this, and looking forward to continuing our relationship, David.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy. And looking
forward.
All
right, see you. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.